Hi, everybody. Welcome to All Booked Up. This is our special edition. I am so excited for this. A book has been born. I would like to introduce you all to C.S. Magnuson. And she has just today released her very first book called Dark Things Crawl Out. And as a fan of horror, I know if that doesn't goose you, then nothing will. I mean, the title alone right there is saying, read me, read me. So we are going to ask her to tell us about her book. Oh, well, why don't you tell us?
Sorry,
Oh, can you hear me?
you
Oh,
froze a little bit there, so I missed the question part
oh,
of that.
oh, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I am a writer. I live in Kansas City, which is in Missouri, not Kansas, which is a mistake that some people make. So I'm over on the Missouri side. I've been here about 7 years. A transplant from kind of all over the U.S. If there's a region, I've lived there. I think I take that back. I have not lived in the Pacific Northwest, but pretty much everywhere else in the U.S. I've lived. I lived in London, South Africa, and ended up here right in the middle of the
Wow.
country. But I have enjoyed my time here, and a lot of what I write has been somewhat inspired by this location as well. So yeah.
So, what inspired you into horror?
Um, yeah, I think everybody's got kind of a moment when they maybe had that little awakening of, ooh, this is kind of spine tingling, and they decided they like that and were either going to create that or definitely wanted more of that as a reader or a viewer. And I think for me it's kind of an unlikely source in that it was probably when I was I think 5 or 6. Disney re-released Fantasia in movie theaters, and getting to the end of that and the big scene with Chernabog, as he comes out of the mountain, and there's he's raising ghosts and raising demons from the graveyard, and that, to me, I wasn't necessarily frightened, but I that was unlike anything that I had seen at that age. And that just struck me, and it was like, ooh, like this is something new and different, with big feelings, and it was very intense. And it's not dancing hippos anymore. It's monsters in mountains, and that, I think, really really struck me. And so now I have a book about a monster in a mountain. So so yeah, that's probably where it goes back
Yes,
to.
you do, and it's fabulous.
Yep.
So, I have been reading Dark Things Crawl Out, and the mother worm. Okay, that right there is like a creepy thing. Um, I'm totally like ew, ick, yuck. Um, but it's yeah. If it can ew, ick, yuck me, then it's a good story.
Mhm.
So I'm loving it. I am loving it. I recommend this book to everybody, and I'm going to say this now. I'm going to have Chris put her book on my page, so everybody can come to my page and find it. You can also go to her Facebook page, I'm sure, and find it and the link so that you can go get this wonderful book that is new, and everybody should go check it out because it's her first book, and that's an important thing. So we all want to go get it. Um, it's nice and dark and scary, and the characters are some real characters. I mean, they they're they're characters. Let me tell you, they I don't know how to explain them. That they're kind of mountainy inspired, like
Yes, it's an ensemble of misfits that are thrown in together, and have to rely on each other for survival.
they're
They are the last people that they would want to be spending time with.
yes, and yet they seem to they kind of feed off each other
Yeah.
in the story.
Yep.
And they somehow work together well. It's you have to read it. It's really good. And well, I hate giving spoilers. This is where I'm having a problem, because I want to tell you how great this is, but I hate giving spoiler alerts on a book, because I don't want to ruin it for people. But if you like kind of like an Appalachian feel to it, or a creepy mountain feel, this is definitely a book you would get into. And a monster feel, because it's got all that.
Yeah, it's set in the Ozarks, and
okay, the Ozarks. Yeah, I'm in the Appalachians here in Pennsylvania, so that's
crossover vibes there.
fine for me.
It's set in the 1920s, so there's bootlegging, and prohibition is going on, and yeah, a little bit folk horror, a little bit creature feature, and there's various elements in there.
Yeah, it's just really interesting, and it is spooky. Now, you said when we were talking earlier that deliverance with creepy crawlers, Carrie says. Yes.
Yes. Yep.
Absolutely. That's what it reminds me of. Deliverance with creepy crawlers. Mm-hmm. That you are working on another book. And that this one was like your heart book.
Yes.
You want to tell us a little bit about that one?
That one is completed and is out with agents, with my agent right now. She's got it on submission with publishers. And that one I actually finished writing before I started this one. So it's one of those things where, the second one got published before the first one. And that one is also set in the Ozarks. It's set in modern times, so about 100 years after this one, but it's definitely the same universe. So there's little elements here and there, like one of the characters in the book that released today, his name is August Keller, and his family owns a sawmill. And so in this other book, there's a reference to Keller's sawmill, which is now a rundown, falling apart sawmill that nobody can even remember, who it belonged to. So there's little Easter eggs there that kind of tie these two worlds together. But that one is out, and then I'm also working on one right now that's set during the Dust Bowl. And I have a passion for historic horror as well as contemporary. So my current work in progress is like a Dust Bowl era ghost story.
Oh, I love good ghost stories.
Yes.
Now, as someone who has just put out your first book, what would you say to someone who's thinking of writing a book and getting published?
Well, I'm always up for encouraging people to write books. I do always caution patience. It is not quite often. It is not a quick project. It's the writing. Sometimes that is quicker for others than it is for some. But it just, there's a lot that goes into it as far as, once you have this completed project in this book, it doesn't just see the light of day immediately. It's, there's editing processes, and, if you decide to go the traditional route with an agent, that takes time. Then you think, oh, I got the agent, it's going to happen now. And then it goes out on submission to editors, and then that takes, so by the time, you're seeing a book on a shelf, that book, in some cases could be several years old. The author might have written it a couple of years before. There's a whole process there. And so, I'm never one to tell people that they shouldn't do something or to dampen their enthusiasm, but it's not always a sprint. Writing can definitely be a marathon. But it is incredibly enjoyable, and it's something very, very fulfilling about, putting words together and sending them out into the world, and know that people are going to read those and talk about those words, and potentially even, share those words, quote those words, to other people, and things like that. So that's very exciting.
I always say it's kind of like sending your child to kindergarten for the first day when you put your book out there.
Yep.
It's like, okay, this is my baby. Please don't hurt it. Here you go. I'm sending you into the world. Please be kind. Please be kind to my baby.
I think, shortly after they announced that, this was the date that it was going to be released, I had a little panic attack and contacted a friend. And it was one of those things where it's like, I know I wrote a book for people to read, but it suddenly dawned on me that people are going to read this.
Exactly.
I know,
yes.
Very explanatory, but oh my God, people are going to read this. And then, that's me out there, with, all of my, my creativity on the line, and people will have thoughts and feelings about it, and hopefully they're good, but it's a very vulnerable moment.
I am 9 books in, and I still get that flutter in my stomach when someone says, I'm reading your book. Mm-hmm. And it's still like, okay.
How's that going for you? Yeah.
It's like, okay, the most awkward moment in the world. You're reading my book.
Yeah.
And then, especially with horror, okay, how creepy are you going to think I am now?
Well, there is that too, where you get, the question of like, I'm looking at you differently now.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. Okay, you're not that soccer mom I thought you were.
Exactly. Yeah, that's some awkward conversations at birthday parties when you tell people what you do. Yeah.
In the parent-teacher meeting. Oh, I read your book. You did what? Please be kind to my child now. Mm-hmm. What do you mean you don't want my stuff at the bake sales anymore?
Yep.
I didn't mean to poison somebody in that book. That doesn't mean my cupcakes aren't any good.
Yes, it's only murders on the page. We keep them on the page.
Yes. It's
yes, I think we're human beings, though. When we get mad at people, we just sit there and go, "Oh, I'm going to kill you off in a book."
That's just it. I get to kill people whenever I feel like it on paper. So why I don't have to do it in real life?
Yep, I can be.
And I have many times.
Yep, the body count just.
Oh, you ticked me off. You're going to die today.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can really get your frustrations out that way. It's kind of like a rock concert.
Yep. Yeah.
I used to say it was my therapy. I could go and jump around and yell and scream and holler and not look any more ridiculous than anybody else.
Yep.
So there it was out. I had a good time, and I can go home and just chill again. Mm-hmm. And writing a book is kind of the same thing, especially when, a horror book. I'm not sure how it works for like romance authors and things, but for me, it's like I can get, all my little people lined up, get them to do what I want them to do. Although occasionally they argue with me, yes, and I'll have to say, but then you don't know, no. We don't need to kill that person, but if you think we should, maybe we should, but you get to get all your frustrations out. I think if more people had an outlet like that, it would be a great thing. If more people had, not just writing, but just an outlet to get, work out their issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It would be a good thing in this world. Mm-hmm. It really would. Too many people don't, whether it's art, drawing, painting, writing, music, just some kind of creative outlet where they can,
but not
just get their feelings out.
Not bothering anyone else. Yeah.
Thank you. And then maybe we would. The crazies everywhere. Mm-hmm. It's when we can solve the world's problems right here on the show.
There we go.
So, is there anything you would like to say about the book? I mean, any kind of
no, I'm
like a little
excited
blurb.
To go out there into the world and to, for people to read it, and hopefully it gets some word of mouth, and people share it and share what they like about it. Yeah, I mean, I think it is very fun. In addition to being creepy, I think, as we kind of touched on, the dynamic between the characters in some cases can be rather amusing. There's some bickering back and forth, and so I think there are moments in there, probably more towards the first half, that are, if not lighthearted, they're a little bit jovial, or they're fun to read. In that you do have these very very different people who are trying to escape each other, work with each other, all these things, and just the roads all keep leading back to each other, and they really are just kind of stuck with each other as a group of odd fellows. And I think there's something kind of fun in that, in addition to being spooky and gross and creepy, and yeah, and hopefully it's got I think some of the people who kind of read it as I was writing it said that by the time they got to the end, it was like a very fast roller coaster, and they were just kind of hurtling along towards the ending, and having to catch their breath. So hopefully most people have that response as they read it, and they get a nice creepy payoff at the end.
Yay! I'm looking forward to getting to the end. Yeah, I oh so much, and I didn't get you didn't have it out yet, so I just got the manuscript, which lucky me, I got a preview. So yeah, I was happy to get the preview and start enjoying it before everybody else. But I suggest everybody get this book because I'm in love with it already. I had to put aside all my other reading, and I didn't feel bad about it. Although I have people leaving me messages about things I was supposed to have reviewed already and haven't. But oops, I'll get to it. Things take time. And I'm one of those people that they always say I'm going to be late for my own funeral. I probably will. I would know how to be on time if I had to. I usually try and schedule everything like an hour early for myself, just so I get there when I'm supposed to. It's a terrible thing. So I'm going to say thank you for being on the show. And wow, I can't say enough about the book. Everyone, I want you to check out Magnuson. Go to her Facebook page, go to her Amazon page, and Instagram page. Do you have the Instagram?
Yes. Yeah.
Check her out all over social media. And you can look on my Facebook page as well. I will have her post her book and book link on my page. And this will also, if anybody missed it, it will be on YouTube. You can check out the full interview there and buy the book. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for being with us. And we will see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. Okay.